Thank you for joining us here at the International Energy Agency today. I'm here with IEA Executive Director Dr. Fatih Birol, who is going to make some remarks about the current situation in energy markets. Dr. Birol, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jethro. Greetings from International Energy Agency headquarters in Paris. The conflict in the Middle East is having significant impacts on global oil and gas markets, with major implications for energy security, energy affordability, and the global economy. For oil, the Strait of Hormuz normally provides a route to market for 15 million barrels per day of the global crude oil supply and another 5 million barrels per day of oil products. This amounts to around 25% of the world's oil trade via sea. And now, the flows of oil, gas, and other commodities through the strait have all but stopped. Without sufficient routes to market and with no more available storage, Middle East oil producers have started to reduce production. And we have seen further attacks and damage to energy and energy-related infrastructure. Refinery operations have also been disrupted, with major implications for jet fuel and diesel supplies in particular. The situation in natural gas markets is also very challenging. There are few options to replace the missing LNG cargoes from Qatar and the Emirates. Global energy supply has been reduced by around 20%, and underlying market balances coming into this conflict were even tighter than in the case of oil. Asia is the most severely affected region for gas. Higher income countries in Asia are competing hard with Europe and other importers for available LNG cargoes. But also some price-sensitive developing economies are simply short of natural gas and are forced to ration consumption. Dear colleagues, energy security is the founding mandate of the International Energy Agency. And when oil markets have faced major disruptions in the past, the IEA has taken collective action to provide extra supplies. We have done this on 5 occasions up to now. During the first Gulf War, during the Hurricane Katrina, during the Libyan civil war, and twice in the months following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And since the current conflict began 10 days ago, I have been in constant dialogue with ministers from all IEA governments and from key oil and gas producers inside and outside the region, such as Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and Azerbaijan, to give you some examples. And also with ministers from major energy importers and trading hubs, such as India and Singapore. We have convened 2 extraordinary meetings of IEA member governments on the situation. And I thank all the IEA members for the strong sense of urgency and solidarity that they have brought to the situation. I was also invited by France's G7 presidency to brief and discuss meetings of G7 finance and also energy ministers this week on the energy market situation. I would like to thank President Emmanuel Macron of France in this regard. Dear colleagues, as a result of the discussions among IEA members, I can now announce that IEA countries have unanimously decided to launch the largest ever release of emergency oil stocks in our agency's history. IEA countries will be making 400 million barrels of oil available. I repeat, 400 million barrels of oil available to the market to offset the supply lost through the effective closure of the strait. This is a major action aiming to alleviate the immediate impacts of the disruption in markets. But, to be clear, the most important thing for a return to stable flows of oil and gas is the resumption of transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Dear colleagues, in this context, IEA will continue to actively monitor the situation in markets and to make further recommendations to our member countries if needed. As I mentioned in the beginning of my remarks, the IEA was founded over 50 years ago with the core mission of upholding energy security. That is what we are doing today for oil markets and what we have been and will continue to do across the entire energy sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Birol. And also thank you to all of you following this online for your interest. I would just like to note that the IEA will provide further details of how this collective action will be implemented in due course. Thank you.